In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, peace be upon you. This slide is a bit more positive. This presentation is a bit more positive than my previous. And it's just generally about life and children. And I wanted to talk about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped me protect my daughters. Now, my eldest got a job in a library when she was 18. And as far as I knew, she was catching bus in the morning and her dad was picking her up after work. However, I started having dreams that a taxi driver who was driving her to or from work was contemplating raping her. So some morning I woke up and I was chatting to my youngest and telling her how stupid my dreams were. That I was dreaming a taxi driver who was transporting her was considering attacking her older sister. And I was telling her how ridiculous this was, considering she doesn't even use a taxi. And imagine my shock when my youngest told me that, Mum, she does use a taxi. She's been using a taxi to go to work in the mornings. Obviously, I gave her some advice about that. I did actually suggest that if she insists on using a taxi, she uses a different company. Now, I did wonder why Allah had given me the sense of the situation rather than my daughter herself. Why wasn't she warned? And I chatted about this with my sister, and she felt that God considered that I have the responsibility for my daughter until she reaches maturity or gets married. So I was getting a sense of the situation and the fact that she was in danger. I do believe my sister was incorrect to an extent, because I believe that if the parents are alive, then Allah does give us the responsibility and helps us create a safe environment for our children, and He gives us the responsibility that even as the daughters become older and perhaps they become divorced, that we can provide a safe haven for our daughters if their marriages break down. And so I do pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps all parents care and protect their children. If you've got a moment longer, then praise be to Allah. Allah does exist and He does help us and guide us if we have true belief. And I wanted to share this other experience. When my daughters were 12 and 18, my milkman retired, which was about 5 years ago, maybe a bit longer than that. And he told me that a new milkman would be taking over the round. Now, as soon as the new milkman started delivering the milk, I started suffering recurring nightmares. And in my dreams, somebody was telling me to get rid of this new milkman. Now, I consider delivering milk quite a blessed job, and I was thinking, you know, surely it's a good human being that gives people milk, wakes up early, gives them milk in the morning, and surely, the dreams were being ridiculous. But I'd hear whisperings in my dream. I've never heard voices in my waking life. It's while I'm dreaming, I was being told that he's a rapist, he's a paedophile, he has the key to our home. I was being told that my home is an open house for him. Your daughters are vulnerable. He can attack them anytime. What are you doing? What are you doing? Over and over again, this went on. Um, it continued for several weeks, and I did tell my daughters to stay away from the door when the milkman comes, to collect his money. I thought just in case it's a little bit weird, keep the girls away. But one particular day, my youngest actually answered the door to the milkman, and I was annoyed at her for forgetting. Now, when I went to pay him, I noticed he had satanic tattoos on his arm. And I know that generally people think it's cool to get satanic tattoos. Sometimes there's no harm in it. But that coupled with my nightmares about him, I decided to get rid of him, especially since my husband now and again would leave the key outside the door and forget to lock the door inside. So I cancelled the milk. So I hope this inspires people to keep purity of their diet, what they eat wholesome foods, think wholesome thoughts most of the time. I do ask forgiveness from God because I do get angry, especially at the gutter elite. But we must try to purify our thoughts, purify our food, and then Allah can save us and save our children and guide us to safety. And this is very important in this day and age because we are living in end times. And I pray that Allah guides you, protects you, and gives you peace. I pray that Allah guides the Satanists and the devil to the straight path. There is no Antichrist. I pray that the ultimate success be that all creation unite for truth and justice. I pray that Allah grant us all guidance and grant us all forgiveness and make our children be a source of peace for the parents and make the parents be a source of peace for the children. And may I be a source of peace for all, and may I achieve martyrdom defending the vulnerable. Allahu Akbar and Allah Hafiz.